Nationalism is not a new phenomenon. It has shaped the destinies of nations, redrawn borders, and inspired both unity and conflict. To understand why nationalist movements are resurging in the 21st century, we must first trace their roots through history, back to the ideas, revolutions, and political transformations of the 19th and 20th centuries. The 19th century was an era of profound change. Across Europe, the concept of the nation-state gained traction. In Italy and Germany, fragmented principalities and duchies began to consolidate under the banners of shared language, culture, and history. Visionaries like Giuseppe Mazzini and Otto von Bismarck advocated for national unity, while emphasizing loyalty to the nation above regional or dynastic ties. These movements inspired hope for self-determination, yet also planted the seeds of exclusion, as belonging became tied to ethnicity, language, and shared heritage. In Eastern Europe, the decline of empires such as the Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian states created fertile ground for nationalist aspirations. Groups long under imperial rule, Poles, Serbs, Czechs, and others, began to organize politically, demanding recognition and autonomy. The language of nationalism became intertwined with liberation, yet it also introduced competition for land, resources, and political dominance. Meanwhile, colonial expansion carried nationalist ideas far beyond Europe. Colonized peoples were exposed to European ideologies, which they adapted to articulate their own visions of independence. India, Indonesia, and parts of Africa witnessed early nationalist movements that sought self-rule and cultural revival, combining local identity with the political strategies they had observed in Europe. The early 20th century showed both the potential and peril of nationalism. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914 exemplified how nationalist fervor could ignite global conflict. Nationalism fueled the outbreak of World War I, a war that redrew maps, toppled empires, and led to unprecedented loss of life. In its aftermath, Europe faced a period of reconstruction, political experimentation, and ideological struggle. It was during the interwar years that nationalism took on more extreme and dangerous forms. In Italy, Benito Mussolini fused nationalism with authoritarianism to create fascism. In Germany, Adolf Hitler exploited national humiliation, economic hardship, and xenophobic sentiment to rise to power, combining ethnic nationalism with totalitarian control. These examples demonstrated how powerful and destructive nationalism could become when tied to ideology, propaganda, and state machinery. At the same time, not all nationalist movements were violent or oppressive. In Scandinavia, Ireland, and parts of Eastern Europe, nationalist sentiment was expressed through cultural revival, language preservation, and efforts toward political self-determination. These movements emphasized identity, heritage, and community, without necessarily resorting to militarism. Before we continue, if you're intrigued by how historical nationalist ideologies evolved into the movements we see today, take a moment to like this video, share it with a friend, and comment which historical example surprises you most. Don't forget to subscribe to @Looking Back in Time for the next episode, where we explore how nationalism shaped the interwar period and set the stage for modern conflicts. The 19th and early 20th centuries reveal patterns that resonate even today: the desire for belonging, the power of shared culture and language, and the risk of exclusion or aggression toward outsiders. Nationalism was a response to political fragmentation, social upheaval, and the human need for identity. It was both constructive and dangerous, a force that could unite people under a common purpose or drive them toward conflict and conquest. In tracing these historical roots, we see that the nationalist movements of today are not isolated. They are echoes of past ideologies, reshaped by modern challenges, globalization, migration, and cultural change. Understanding their history is essential if we are to comprehend their present influence and anticipate their future impact. From the unification of nations to the collapse of empires, the 19th and 20th centuries were a crucible for nationalist ideas. They taught lessons of unity, resilience, and identity, as well as warnings about extremism, exclusion, and the human cost of ideological fervor. By examining these origins, we can better understand why nationalism continues to shape politics, culture, and societies around the world. The story of nationalism is far from over. Its echoes reverberate today, reminding us that history is never just the past. It is a lens through which we view the challenges, ambitions, and tensions of the present.